Hello everybody, welcome to OCHD and welcome to another Jumputi Heroes video. Today we're going to be discussing the roadmap to the 5.5 anniversary. This is something I always enjoy talking about every year, or every, I suppose, 6 months. We always get a roadmap when the anniversary live stream drops. So the anniversary live stream is always something to look forward to, just because you're not only getting content that's like for the upcoming event, they also tell you about all the stuff they've got planned for like the next 6 months or so. But when I say all the stuff, they always keep some things hidden, of course. They always a little bit ambiguous with some stuff. And sometimes you get some additional stuff, talk about updates, talk about like some things they're working on, like series to be added and stuff like that. It's a good time and I'm looking forward to it. And this is going to be my roadmap. I've tried to make it as realistic as I can, with it still being fun. I don't want it to be this just like boring, wet roadmap. Like there's a few things where obviously it's not gonna go the way I want it to, but I just wanted it to have at least a few exciting aspects. So starting off, obviously there's 2 events on there already. The 5th anniversary, we know, is going to start at the end of March. It's going to finish around mid-April. Then, from mid-April until the end of April, we have the Haikyuu event. We were supposed to have the Haikyuu event earlier this year, and they delayed it due to various reasons that they didn't explain very well. And so now, Haikyuu is end of April. So, what else are we going to get? Now, for the campaigns, for the other and for the new features, I'm not going to cover necessarily everything I think I'm going to see, that we will see. And I'm not necessarily going to follow like a rigid pattern. Like in some of these, I've included like some of the level 15 buffs I think we'll see. But that's more to give you an idea of some of the things we might see from the other events that are going to be going on. But obviously we are going to get level 15 buffs pretty much every month, maybe twice in some months. So realistically, there will be more buffs than the ones I mentioned, but we're just going over some of the things I think we might see, and some things that I think would be cool. So first things first, and this is one of the more realistic things. I think the 5th anniversary is going to be a banger, and then after the 5th anniversary, we will have Haikyuu, yes, but I think alongside Haikyuu, because I don't know how high the devs' confidence is in Haikyuu as a series. I know it's popular, but it's over and it's not hyper popular, and they always love to follow the anniversary up with something hyper popular. And so I think at the same time as Haikyuu, I think we will have a special campaign for the release of the Demon Slayer anime. The Demon Slayer anime is going to be releasing the new season, I should say, the third season is going to be the 9th of April, I believe. And so I think it is very likely we're going to see a lot of Demon Slayer reprints. We might get like a new limiteds or some new characters. But the key thing here is that we will be seeing some Demon Slayer reprints and stuff to follow up the 5th anniversary. Because all these new players that have joined to play Jumputi Heroes, so as to make sure that those people don't leave when they realize, oh, actually, I'm not that interested in Haikyuu. You put Demon Slayer as well, there's a good chance a lot of those people stay to play the Demon Slayer stuff. So I definitely expect that. I don't know whether that means like some of the Demon Slayer stuff will be like crossing over with the 5th anniversary, whether they'll just release new stuff alongside Haikyuu. But I don't think things just die off after the anniversary and we just go back to normal feature festivals. They're going to have a bit of madness to follow the anniversary for sure. Then we have Super Tower. I don't know necessarily that Super Tower is going to come out with the 5th anniversary. The way it was shown in the last roadmap, it seemed to be in the later section. So it could be just after, or it could be like a bit down the road. But I think Super Tower is going to mark the return of new characters coming out for Tower, because obviously they released the guy, is it Kaname from Yu Yu Hakusho? And then I think after that, when we were supposed to get a new character, we just didn't. And it's just gone to like reprints and stuff. And I believe that's because of Super Tower. I think when Super Tower comes out, they will add a new character and hopefully some other good stuff. I don't really know what Super Tower is going to be. The current game mode in its current form sort of is what it is. I don't really know how you can improve it to not only interest the whales who are spending a lot of money on the game to spend more, and at the same time not make it awful for everybody else. So it might just be awful. I'm gonna be real with you. We don't know yet, but I'm at least hoping we're gonna get a new character every 6 months or so from this game mode. And then finally, new feature, hidden potential system. We already know this is coming with the anniversary. I don't know how they're going about it in terms of releasing batches of characters. I assume it'll be somewhat similar to the way they did luck skills, where it was just like a few here and there, and then they slowly ramped it up over time. But the only character they've shown so far in this hidden potential system is Luffy. I don't know if there's going to be limiteds in there in the first batch. I don't know how far down the line characters other than hero grade units are even planned for this, but I'm assuming they will come, especially like the early limiteds I think are going to get buffs from it. And I think a lot of the anniversary stuff is going to be based around this, in terms of, because like some of the rewards that in the past would have meant nothing to you. It's like, oh, I got some more revolvers, I got some more books, whatever. Well, now all of that stuff is going to be tied into the hidden potential system, and you're going to need more of them than you used to, especially gold. I think gold is going to be a nightmare by the time we get to the anniversary. So there's going to be a lot of gold rewards. There's going to be a lot of like books and jump souls and all that stuff rewards. And it will just be interesting to see how this is all handled, because the stats we saw on like version 1 Luffy, they seem incredibly high, especially for a standard gacha unit. I mean, what would they have to change to his skills to make him like a viable character? And what would they be changing about his skills if we took another character that was already really strong? Like, what are they going to do to them? It's going to be interesting, and I'm hoping it's not going to cause too much work overhead for me on the database. I'm hoping it's something at least somewhat straightforward. But moving into May is the start of May, I should say, is Golden Week, and I have decided that Golden Week will be a main event this year. Last year it was in the main event section of the roadmap. However, Golden Week ended up being a campaign of sorts, and then they moved stuff about, and then it just wasn't ideal for me. I like the idea of Golden Week being a full, proper, amazing event, and the reason I've called it Super Golden Week, even though realistically, the way Golden Week works, I think this is actually one of the worst ones for Japanese people, because depending on how the holidays line up, you can sort yourself out like a nice little break. But I think one of the bank holidays falls on a weekend this year, so I think Golden Week is actually a little bit shorter than normal. But regardless, Super Golden Week, I would like to see characters from the like golden era of Jump. I want this event to be fully dedicated to like earlier in Jump. The characters that we saw back in like, I think the golden era is considered to be like 84-ish to around 94-ish, around there somewhere. And I want to see characters from that era of Jump. I think it's unlikely, just because the devs have definitely showed some favoritism towards later series, like 2000s, 2010s, recently. But they, at some point, it's a good idea for them to go and give some stuff for the old geezers. And there is plenty of stuff from that era that remains untouched. There's plenty of stuff that we can go back and look at again. I mean, Fist and the North Star is an incredible series from that era. And I mean, Kenshiro has aged quite well as a limited, but like we wouldn't hate to see some new Fist of the North Star content. And there's just plenty of series from that era that need just a little something, just a little bit extra. And if I had my way, it would just be this like blockbuster amazing event, but we'll see. We'll see. Then the second half of May, I have chosen D.Gray-man. And the reason I've chosen D.Gray-man is because I was recently looking over like what series potentially could be getting big events in Jumputi Heroes. And I realized D.Gray-man was far more popular than I thought it was. Like the number of sales it's done, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of mad. This is kind of mad. I know obviously there were like it had to transfer magazines and it went to like I think like a monthly release schedule or something like that. Like things changed, but I mean I think it's like super popular in comparison, bear in mind, in comparison to the content that is received in the game. So I think well deserving of a feature festival. There is still plenty of content to work with. And I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Then we have the Goku and Gohan Day campaign. I highly suspect that part of Super Golden Week, or whatever event is on, will be Goku and Gohan Day, which is going to be like the 10th and 9th. Well, no, 8th and 9th of May. I think we'll see Gohan added as a limited. Potentially, and people won't like me saying this, but potentially he might be like a Golden Week seasonal exclusive type thing. You know how Light and Ryuk is like was like an exclusive New Year limited, a seasonal limited. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that with Gohan, just because they've made us wait so long for Super Saiyan 2 limited Gohan. It's probably gonna be. I say Super Saiyan 2. It's like he does the transforming. Does he do? I'm wondering if I'm getting the two versions mixed up. But anyway, the like Cell Saga Gohan. Yes, the Cell Saga Gohan as a limited. I'm hoping he's not. I'm hoping he is just added during this period, and then people can enjoy it. But it definitely makes sense. We have a Goku and a Gohan ready from the Taiwan server, so of course you would add them, and then have Goku as like a catastrophe class event. I don't want them to just be added like unceremoniously. So adding them as part of Golden Week, because Goku and Gohan Day are going to be around the same time, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't like it when we just get like, well, I mean, it's not the same, but like when Fuki released, it was just like, by the way, Fuki's coming out. Same with Ging. And it's just like, you're going to release something and you have the opportunity to release it in conjunction with something, you should do that. Then in other, as an example for some of the characters we might see get some additional attention for Golden Week, I've shown Kenshiro and Goldman. These are characters I'd like to see get their level 15s around that time. But of course, there would be other characters in consideration for Golden Week, because there are so many series that we can consider. And then down here, Super Genkai Battle Saga. I think we got to get this at some point. Admittedly, it might come sooner than I think, but it's very weird to me because they released each of like the Super Genkai battles, and they were like, okay, now we've got this extra section that's going to be where the Genkai battles are and the Super Genkai battles. And I felt like adding that before you had all of them was a bit odd. And so I don't know how they're going to implement Super Genkai Battle Saga, but I figured it's a good time to add him during the Golden Week event. Just add Saga, and then you have all four done, and we can move on to the next whatever it's going to be. And I think that that month of May would be a madness. I think people would be so happy with some of the stuff coming out during that period. Obviously, there is an argument that like D.Gray-man Feature Festival, like it hasn't had much content, so there's a little bit of questionable, like is it going to go down well? But as I mentioned before, the devs have been favoring more like 2000s stuff as of late, so makes sense to me. Moving on to June, we're starting off with a Hoshin Engi Feature Festival. I don't know how likely this is, but it hasn't had one. It got a Muso. It's had a bunch of attention on the Taiwan server. There's still plenty of content missing from it. Still doesn't have a limited, but it has like a decent amount of characters in the game. The way they've handled Hoshinengi compared to other series is so weird. But I think if it finally gets a feature festival, it finally gets a limited, then we can say, okay, you know what? You've been good to this series. Finally, you have been good to this series. There's plenty of content still to add. Fugen Shinjin still hasn't been added. Nento Dojin still hasn't been added. Obviously, you could do version 2s of certain characters that haven't had their like final versions or whatever. There is plenty of content to cover. I know a lot of people say, oh, like another Taikobo. I get it. I do. There's a lot of series where we just seem to go back to the same characters, but it is the protagonist at the end of the day. I don't think it's that bad. And Hoshinengi very much deserving, again, considering its popularity, very deserving of an event. And it's weird to me that they didn't release one during the anime. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Something they did in the past with The Promised Neverland, where they were like, guys, the anime fumbled the bag with The Promised Neverland, but we won't. And they covered Goldie Pond, which the anime didn't cover. So they could do the same thing here. They could be like, guys, I know the Hoshinengi anime fumbled the bag. We're not going to do that. We're going to cover all the stuff that it missed out. We'll cover some of the stuff that it did cover, obviously, but there's lots of stuff it missed out, and we're gonna fill you in on the blanks. That would be awesome. So hopefully something we can see. And then following that, we have the Kurokono Basket Feature Festival. The reason I put this here is because they have told us there will be a Kurokono Basket Feature Festival. And I had to put it in here at some point. I say they told us there'd be a feature festival. Typically speaking, when they put stuff in that later section of the roadmap, it means it's going to be a feature festival. So I think it will be a feature festival. I've put it roughly the same time we had the Prince of Tennis feature festival last year. Just because I think like sports, summer, it's around the time you'd like to have an event like that on. And while there is still some content missing from Kurokono Basket, and you can do V2s and stuff, it does feel like this event is going to be heavily V2s. We're going to see V2 Akashi. We might get, I don't know, a V2 Kuroko makes a lot of sense. This is the weird part, because we've had Kuroko and Kagami limited. So are we going to get like a new standard gacha Kuroko, or like an event unit Kuroko? Same with Kagami. We still don't have Midorima. He's got to be added, probably standard gacha. Kisei version 2 might... the limiteds might be Akashi and Kisei version 2s. I don't know. There is still stuff for them to cover, but I have a feeling it's going to be heavily V2. We shall see. And then June, obviously, a lot of focus on feature festivals. I feel like it's good to have, you know, like ensemble feature festival, but you do have to have some months where it's feature festival. That's just how it's got to be. But you can obviously have stuff where things cross over. You can have like a feature festival, and some other nonsense. And this is that other nonsense. The Taiwan anniversary campaign. We had this last year. Towards the end of June, they released the Taiwan anniversary stuff, which ultimately boiled down to Fuki, and that was about it. My idea here is that instead of them releasing whichever densetsu they're going to release on the Taiwan server on here at the same time, I would like them to say, we're going to have a campaign, a proper campaign, and that is going to lead into July. And in July, you will get that densetsu that the Taiwan server got, because that's when we're going to have a big event as well. And so having those two things sort of, again, similar to last year, crossing over from the two versions, but instead of just throwing the densetsu or the Musou out, saying, look, here's a campaign, this is an opportunity to get rubies and rewards and other good stuff, and we are letting you know, we're giving you a little bit of warning at least. Well, I'm hoping they'll tell us in the roadmap, but we're giving you a bit of a countdown to when this unit releases, and you're going to know who the unit is because you will have seen them on the Taiwan server. I think that would be pretty cool. Whether they'll do it that way or not remains to be seen, because I do think, even though they've said many times, oh, we're not just going to unceremoniously drop a unit like that anymore, they might do it, and it might be the third time that they do it. But we'll see. And then for updates, as I mentioned, a big event in July is the Jump 55th anniversary. This has got to be one of the biggest events in the game, realistically. I know you might treat stuff like the 5th anniversary as bigger because it's specific to the game, but the game was released for the 50th anniversary of Jump. That's why they made this game. And so the fact that we're coming up to the 55th anniversary, that's pretty special. And I would like an event for that, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And then finally, Battle Pass. The reason I put this here is because I feel like when you're going to have a big event, it's time to implement a new feature to try and monetize it. I know some people don't like that sort of thing, but there are a lot of games where they would just charge you like a Battle Pass costs like £5 or whatever, $5, whatever it is, and they give you a bunch of goodies. They have set the groundwork for certain rewards to be more valuable than they've ever been. Like, for example, jewels. We need so many more jewels than we used to. Rubies. We need so many more rubies than we used to. Even like evolver items and limit break doors and all this stuff. All of these things are so much higher demand than they used to be. And especially with the hidden potential system requiring us to have more of these items. And gold is going to be like the big one. Now there are so many things we need. There's so many more things you can put in a battle pass, and it's not going to feel like a dead reward. It's still going to be something I need. So having a battle pass where it's like for 30 days or whatever it is, you know, it costs like $5, and you get a bunch of rewards over the course, and it's like, if you are playing every day, the rewards you get ultimately will be worth it. And it'll be like a certain amount of rubies and a certain amount of whatever. Now, some would argue they basically already have that. It's like the gift packs, but the way I see it, you can sort of time monthly battle passes into whatever content is going on at the time. So you could have like a 55th anniversary battle pass for the Jump 55th anniversary, and it could run all the way through July, and there could be certain content tied to that. If you look at, I've said this before, but if you look at something like Cookie Run Kingdom, like they have like a special item that you only get if you buy the battle pass from that month. And it's just having stuff like that. I know some people don't like that sort of thing, but let me put it this way. The way I see it, it is the lesser of two evils. I don't like it when they release packs where it's just like so expensive and the value is just not there. And by the way, that's most of the packs. Because there's no point in me buying it, so they're not making any money. But at the same time, I'm not getting any rewards, and it's just kind of it's a standoff. But if you charge like a nominal fee, a small amount that like most players might be willing to pay, and you make the rewards worth it, they're getting their money, the players are getting their rewards. It's a win-win. Again, might be a little bit of a controversial one, I don't know. But certainly they need to rethink monetization on this game, because some of these sale packs, oh buddy. Then we have the Jump 55th anniversary, as I mentioned, and there will be a new Densetsu for that, and we'll talk about that when we get a bit further down. But the 55th anniversary, I see it as just like a blockbuster event. I want to see content from every era of Jump. I know they have sort of mentioned that there are certain series planned to be added, and the way it was presented, I wasn't sure if they meant from the 55th anniversary onwards, or whether they specifically meant we have these series lined up, they will be added for this event. Because that was quite a lot of series. That will add up to quite a lot of characters. That would be a large portion of the event. None of those series are going to get limited realistically, at least not on their launch. Like, we're talking about Lycopen, the Tomatsu Poodle, and Gun Blaze West, and Mieru Hito, and Emo, and DNA, and I'm probably forgetting some, the one drawn by the Eunice Haunted Hot Springs author, all that stuff. Like, if you had all of those at the same time, I don't know. Like, I get it, and I wouldn't necessarily be against it, but there's got to be other content. There's got to be limiteds, and there's got to be other good stuff going on. Now, if they wanted to make this into a month-long event, I actually would back that. And you could just have, like, 2 events worth of content in one event. But you could split it into 2 parts, and during the first part, you could tease what's coming up in the second part. And I think people would be totally down for that. I'd be totally down for that. But for the sake of argument, if they weren't going to do that, and if it was just a normal event, then in the second part of July, of course, One Piece Day means One Piece content. But I'm hoping, I'm praying 2 things. Number 1, that they have seen that releasing a large amount of One Piece content, like a feature festival, every year on One Piece Day is silly, because you are directly competing with the One Piece games to steal people's money. If I'm a huge One Piece fan, I'm probably playing the One Piece games. The One Piece games are going to do a madness for One Piece Day, and so what? I'm going to spend my money on them. I'm not going to spend my money here. I'm going to spend it on the One Piece game because I'm a One Piece fan. Admittedly, yes, this game has more of a diverse fan base, and so there's some people that might like One Piece and might be willing to summon on it, but they're not that into it that they're playing the One Piece games or whatever. I don't know. But I have a feeling that something huge is coming for One Piece Day. I don't exactly know where the anime is up to, but I have a feeling I know roughly. And when it gets to a certain point, and I'm thinking we will get to that certain point before One Piece Day, but I might be wrong, that content is going to be featured in the One Piece game. So people are going to be spending a lot of money to get that content. And quite frankly, I do not believe that Jumputi is ready to release that content, because I think that is something that would be more of a something else. I know I'm kind of tiptoeing around it so as to not spoil anything, because this is not the kind of video where I need to spoil stuff, but some big stuff coming up in One Piece, and I feel like it's just not going to come out on Jumputi yet. If it does, then that is utter madness, and I'm on board. But yeah, I don't know. And my idea for this event was basically summer events, or rather all seasonal events. I think they're going to start making into a bigger thing. They're going to have seasonal limited, seasonal standard gacha. I know they already have some of those things, but I think we're going to be stepping it up, because I think they like the idea of having certain things as exclusives. Like, if every year there's like 6 limiteds and like maybe 10 standard gacha that are not in the regular pool, then they don't feel as bad giving you limited tickets and giving you choice tickets and all this stuff, because there's still certain things that you can't get from them, and you can only get from summoning on special events, and that's going to be a moneymaker for them. Every time they bring one of those units back, people are going to go in on them, and I think doing that with One Piece, but not, like I said, not going overboard, because again, it's like, it's One Piece Day, so people are going to be spending on the One Piece games. But if you were to release a seasonal One Piece character as a limited, then people would be sort of torn. They'd be like, oh, do I summon on this because it's, you know, fear of missing out. It's a seasonal. I'm a little bit like, I don't know, should I summon? And just a bunch of great summer stuff. Admittedly, some of it will be exclusives. Now, the campaigns, it's going to sound odd when I reveal it, but I think that the Densetsu that the Taiwan server will get in June, that we will get at the start of July, will be Shanks from One Piece. And I know, I just said you shouldn't be releasing One Piece, but hold on. Releasing it at the start of July, before One Piece Day, to try and tempt people to spend so that they get bamboozled, basically. You go, oh, here's the One Piece content. It's like, oh, it's before One Piece Day, but I really would like Shanks, and then people are torn. Now, there's probably a few problems you have with this. Number one, why One Piece getting a Densetsu already has a Muso? I agree. One Piece is the one that is allowed to break the rule. I think One Piece and maybe Demon Slayer, but I don't know how Demon Slayer would do it. But certainly One Piece is allowed to break the rule. I genuinely think that this year we are going to make an official transition to 4 a year, 4 Muso / Densetsu every year. They're just going to say it. They're not going to tiptoe around it anymore. They're going to say it on the live stream. There will be 4 Muso / Densetsu every year. And top of that, we will have our special seasonal limiteds that are going to be like more expensive, and they're going to be exclusives. As a fan of the game, as a player of the game, you might think this is bad, and you might be right, but by doing this, they will feel like they can give out more rubies without it being a bad thing, and then you have to make decisions on what you want to go for. Because if you're not interested in any of the seasonals, then you get to save up and you can spend on whatever cool limiters come out, and it's happy days. But if the seasonals end up being something like, for example, Light and Ryuk or the Toguro brothers that you're super into, that's tough. Because you're going to be so tempted, and it's going to be so hard for you to not part with your rubies. I think Shanks, and you know what? I think they would add Uta from One Piece Film Red. And I know what you're thinking. They can't add Uta because she's not in the manga. Let me tell you something. Uta has made more prominent appearances in Weekly Shonen Jump than Bardock. And Bardock is a limited. I'm asking for Uta as an event unit. We have had drawn by Eiichiro Oda Uta on more than one occasion and in full color, and has even appeared on the cover of the magazine. So there's no, like, I'm not hearing it. There's no reason why she can't be added. If Bardock can be limited, so can she. And yeah, okay, technically those panels weren't in the actual story, but I don't care. I just want her added as an event unit, and then Shanks as the new Densetsu. I think that would be really swell and really cool. And this July would basically be money grabbing season. But I'm hoping that the 55th anniversary, not only adding these new series, will also add some cool stuff. And I believe that from the 55th anniversary onwards, they will be releasing content from newer series. They will just straight up, I'm hoping we're going to have a live stream for that, and I'm hoping they're just going to straight up say, look, new series, we're doing it. We're jumping the, what's the term? Jumping the shark? I don't know. We're doing it. And you know which series I'm talking about, you know, and we'll get to it in a second. But updates, new level 15 batch. As I mentioned, we're going to cover One Piece stuff, but also that's Summer Sasuke. I'm expecting his buff to be absolutely disgusting. He's going to come out level 15 and he's going to be absolutely broken. It's going to be like, guys, if you want Summer Sasuke, you got to summon. And then that's how they get you. And then new features, new long form game mode. I was thinking something similar to OPTC, Training Forest. I've mentioned this many times before. We do not have many game modes that are like multi-wave. And so we do not have many opportunities or many reasons to use teams that are of multiple types or have multiple different sets of abilities. Like, for example, this stage might have Curse on round 4, and it might have Poison on round 9, and it might have like Weakening on round 15 or whatever, and you have to factor in you need something to counter all of those on the way through. Content like that doesn't exist in the game yet. So even if it ends up being a clusterfuck, I'd like to at least see it once. I want to see them at least try it and see what they come up with. They've been promising new, more difficult content, but for the most part, they've just been doing the same stuff recently. I think once we've had Super Genkai Battle Saga, it's a good opportunity. Then August. Starting off with a summer school festival event. Now, I believe that this would be a good opportunity to add some stuff from some new series. But also there's plenty of series that, like, I mean, so many series can fit the summer school festival vibe. I want an ensemble event. I know that would basically be July and August. Like, that's basically 3 ensemble events in a row. But realistically, we just had 3 feature festivals in a row. We're gonna have some more feature festivals in a row. So I don't want to have 4 feature festivals in a row, basically August, September, leading up to the anniversary. So I wanted it to have at least a little bit of flexibility there, and I think there's so much stuff you can add for that theme, so why not? They've kind of already done that theme a few times, but normally it's been tied to other stuff. But doing an event like this, especially for like a milestone anniversary, I think makes a lot of sense, and an opportunity to add some cool content. Then Jujutsu Kaisen. Some people would call this copium. Those people would probably be correct. But they have promised us a feature festival for one series, at least. Well, they said there is one planned for one series that is currently running in Jump to get a feature festival that is not already in the game. Before you start with your One Piece is going to get a feature festival stuff. Yeah, I know. But I think Jujutsu Kaisen feature festival, it kind of has to be. Chainsaw Man doesn't count because it's not currently running in Jump, it's running in Jump Plus. And then what else? Like Yozakura Family, Undead Unluck. I mean, there are other series, don't get me wrong, but Jujutsu Kaisen is the obvious one. People have been asking for it non-stop, and I feel like the devs have just been trolling us for so long. Eventually they have to realize that when they release this, they will print money. So whatever was stopping them from releasing it before, I'm hoping after the 50th anniversary, that will not be a factor anymore, and we will get Jujutsu Kaisen, which would be lovely. And then there you go, Jujutsu Kaisen release campaign. Good opportunity to add, like, I don't know, what would they add from this? Like, I would say, you know how we had like Roboco and Najimi Ajimu as like a special hero grade unit that you can get to 99 luck. I think having that with like Yuji would actually be quite clever. I know some people might say, oh, but people would summon for Yuji. It's like, yeah, but then you just have another one. You have like a limited one. Like, take it slow this time. Have like Yuji from like chapter 1 of the manga before he becomes Sukuna, or like just after he like gets like Sukuna sealed and he's like just like some random high school student basically. Having that as like a 99 luck lead, and then you could then have more versions of him in the future. You can have like limited Sukuna. You can have like, there's so much content to cover from it. I think it would actually be like a really cool thing to do. And I hope they do that more, actually. I like the idea of like every so often a special hero that's like 99 luck. I don't know, from the other stuff I've done here, I don't know who else could potentially fit that, but I'm sure there would be others. Then we have Blue Box. Now, I've only put this in here because I think the Summer School Festival would be a good opportunity to add it. I don't really know how far along the story is, but I feel like if they have made content for it, they'd probably want to release it basically straight away, just because with Jump, you just never know when something's going to end. For example, if they've been planning this Summer School Festival like 6 months ago, trying to get it ready for this event, there's a very good chance that they might have included High School Family, which is now no longer in Jump. And so it's like, do we add it still? Do we not add it? I don't know. So you don't want to put yourself in that tricky situation. When you're adding stuff from the currently running magazine, it takes time to make the content, and in that time, stuff can go wrong. So I would suggest if they are planning on adding Blue Box, this would be a good time to do so. Fits with summer, fits with sports, fits with all that good stuff. And then Emblem Collection Book. This is something I specifically asked for in the like player questionnaire survey thing, because how do we not have this? Like the emblems, there's so many emblems, right? And for the most part, they serve no purpose because you can only have one active at a time. Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Some people want this one, some people want that one, but there's so many where it's just like, what was the purpose of this? And I just feel like having a collection book similar to like the character combo thing, where it's like you collect them and you get a reward, but like have some ruby rewards in there as well, and have some other good stuff in there, and then basically just reward people for completing these collections. and therefore giving me a reason to do the emblem stages when they come back. I think that would be really clever. And obviously the people who have already done it are going to get loads of rewards, but for new players it's something new to work towards, and I think that's smart, that's forward thinking. So hopefully they add that soon. Then September, we have Sket Dance. Now, we have been promised a Sket Dance event or Sket Dance content in the later section of the last roadmap, and so I figured, why not have it here? Why not have it added here? I think I basically put it in the same position, roughly speaking, as the Medica Box Feature Festival was on the last roadmap. Obviously, the dates are different, but you know what I mean. Like, the Feature Festival before the final event, before the anniversary. And Sket Dance hopefully gets like a proper Feature Festival. I know there's definitely some issues with like series where it's like not traditional battle shonen manga getting a Feature Festival. I feel like the devs get a bit skittish and they're like, we'll add it, but here's some other stuff, because they don't want to just add it in case people aren't feeling the vibe and it just like the player base just aren't playing the game for like 2 weeks. I know Sket Dance is popular, but I think the devs are very cautious about this stuff, or at least they have been in the past. And so whether we would have some other stuff running at the same time as Sket Dance, I don't know, but definitely deserving of a Feature Festival. So it'd be good to see that when it's finally added. I don't know whether they're finally going to give us like a triple unit, or whether it's literally just going to be Bossen, or I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. Following that, a Yusei Matsui Sensei feature. Now, initially I was thinking that I would put a Katsura Sensei feature in here, because we could get more Wingman, we could get DNA 2 or TNA squared or whatever it is, which they promised us they would be adding, and there's still plenty of other series that Katsura has made and has had very little content in Jumputi, so it would be an opportunity to make a Feature Festival. However, I am of the belief that the Jump 55th anniversary is going to add all of those series, and I think once you add Aoi from DNA 2, there's probably not much more they're going to add, realistically. I know there is more that they could add, but I don't think they will. And so, that's already one missing from my Katsura Sensei feature. I do hope they still do it at some point, but I think a Yusei Matsui Sensei feature makes a lot of sense. Normally, this is a position where you might put like a crossover event, but they didn't tease a crossover event on the last roadmap, so I'm thinking a Sensei feature makes more sense. And Matsui has not only Assassination Classroom and not only Neuro, but it also has... Oh, there we go. I had them the wrong way around. It also has Elusive Samurai, and I think Elusive Samurai being added, and again, you could have the main character of Elusive Samurai be one of those campaign-style 99 luck units if you wanted. And the reason Witch Watch is there is because it is made by the same author as Sket Dance, and again, the main character, Nico, easily could be one of those 99 luck bonus type units. Obviously, they wouldn't do 2 in the same month, but you get the idea. Maybe one of these characters could fit that role if they felt like it. And I think that would be a pretty cool month, because we'd be getting 2 new series. They'd both be tied into the events that were going on at the time. I think that would be pretty awesome. Obviously, for the Matsui Sensei feature, I'd be thinking like a limited Koro Sensei. And then I guess like a limited Neuro. Does that make sense? It might just be limited Koro Sensei, to be honest. Or they might do a crossover. I mean, technically, it's not a crossover event. It's a Sensei feature. And a lot of the time in a Sensei feature is... I say a lot of the time. We've only had 2 of them. But I feel like it's more about adding new characters than it is about, like, doing super exciting stuff with the existing ones. So, like, a limited Koro Sensei and maybe, like, a limited Neuro, and then just new characters, I guess. But still, I think that would be a very cool month if they did decide to do it, because it's... Yes, it's, like, series that maybe conventionally they might see as a bit of a risk as a feature festival, but if you have that solid month where it's like, we've got 2 new series, stuff that's already running in Jump, and a bunch of other stuff for people to do, yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. And then Hyper Genkai Battle I've put in there. I don't know who that would be necessarily from the series that are currently running. It might be something completely different. In fact, I would say with those events going on, like I said, they might argue that it's like a little bit more risky. This might be an opportunity to add a limited from another series and have them counter the Hyper Genkai Battle, whoever that may be. So I think we need something like that at some point. We need more challenging content for people to work on. I don't necessarily hate Sparks of a Lost Civilization, but I don't like the idea it's set up in a way where it's like I go back every month and it's like not only are the stages like tricky and you got to like remember all the setups and stuff, but you have to do them every month to get the rewards. Whereas something like One Piece is Training Forest, you clear once and you're done. Something like Genkai Battle, you clear the stages and you're done. And that's why the long form game mode I like the idea of, because it's like it might be really difficult. It might be like 25 stages or something, which is like really, really long. But you clear it once and you've done it. Maybe you get an emblem, and that would be a lot more important once you get the emblem collection book. It's like, oh, you've cleared all 4 long form game modes, whatever they're called. You got 4 emblems and you've completed that part of the collection book. You get some rubies or whatever. Like, I think we need more content like that where it's like, this is a challenge and you can either clear it or you can't. And if you can't, you've got to get some more units, you've got to save up, you've got to build up your account over time, and you'll try again later. But if you can beat it, then you get rewarded for it, and then that's done. That's like ticked off the list. Admittedly, stuff where you come back every month and you get rewards is good, because I like rewards, and rewards are good for, I can unlock more characters if I have more rubies and all that good stuff. But I don't want chores. I don't want chores that I have to do in the game. I want just like challenges. And so we'll see. We'll see if they actually do follow through on that. And then the final section, the later section. So this would include, I don't think I've actually put it here, I can't remember, but this would include the 5.5 anniversary and beyond. 5.5 anniversary and beyond. So I've included 3 series in the top section that I think will get feature festivals beyond the 5.5 anniversary. The first of which is iShield 21. I think I predicted this last year as well, and I was wrong again last year. But I think that around Christmas they might decide to do an iShield 21 feature festival leading into the Christmas event. Just because we have the Christmas Bowl, we already have Senna. Like, it would make a lot of sense to release like a Christmas Bowl event and then have iShield 21. iShield 21 deserves a bit more content. Come on, guys. It's had hardly anything. And that would be like our token sports series getting a feature festival. Although we've got 2 in this roadmap technically already, but we know those 2 are coming for sure. But that's not me being crazy. We know those 2 are coming. And then next up, Kinnikuman. Kinnikuman is getting a new anime project. I don't know what it's going to be necessarily, but I'm on board. I feel like there's been a resurgence in popularity for the series. I keep seeing people tweet about it. Then again, I'm following accounts that tweet about it, so that's probably on me. I just want to see more Kinnikuman stuff, and seeing Kinnikuman Soldier this year gave me that little bit of hope I needed to say, you know what? I want a Kinnikuman feature festival, and I'm hoping we're going to get it. And then the final series, Undead Unluck. I think by this point we will know that new series are coming, or, you know, after July, we will know the reality of what new series they have planned and what content they have planned. They would be mad not to do an Undead Unluck feature festival if they have the opportunity to do so. Because that series is incredible. I feel like every chapter I'm like, damn, this is going places. I can't wait to read the next chapter. And I'm just hoping and praying that they see sense and they give us an Undead Unluck feature festival. And then for the campaign, I have put the 5.5 anniversary because, of course, the 5.5 anniversary will be end of September, probably the first couple of weeks of... I actually forgot what came out September for a second. First couple of weeks of October. I don't know what I expect from the 5.5 anniversary. I think that's looking too far ahead into the future. So much is going to have changed by then. So I wouldn't like to go too crazy guessing. And then a wave of new series crashes into Jumputi Island. Those who remember the last roadmap will remember I had that exact same thing in that exact same place. But I think they have to be open to the idea of adding lots of new series. And on this roadmap so far, I've already added a few. But I think moving forward, you know, Yozakura Family, hell yeah. Akane Banashi, hell yeah. Obviously, there's some stuff that's like got cancelled recently, and there's some stuff where it's like, it's maybe a bit too early to be saying it should get content, but adding like one series here and there shouldn't be a problem. And definitely content that came out in the last like 5 years, stuff like Chainsaw Man should be added. And I think they have to be open to the idea of Jump Plus stuff. If you're adding, I know some people say, oh, it's not like Weekly Shonen Jump stuff, but if you're adding content from, say, for example, Magical Patissier Kosaki-chan, that is a Jump Plus series. I know it is tied to Nisekoi, but it is a Jump Plus series. That is the same to me as them saying, we're going to add Dragon Ball Super. It's not in Weekly Shonen Jump, but it is tied to Dragon Ball, and it is in V-Jump. So we're going to add Dragon Ball Super. And if they do that, hey, I'm not complaining. And I think there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of series that aren't necessarily Weekly Shonen Jump series, but they should still be able to add, in my opinion. I'm not asking them to go and add, like, say, for example, Blue Exorcist, because it was never in Weekly Shonen Jump, and it was only ever in another magazine, and it's not tied to anything that is in Weekly Shonen Jump, so maybe that's too much of a leap. I'm not saying they should do that. But stuff like, well, as I mentioned, Dragon Ball Super, definitely should be on the cards. If they wanted to do that, like, Death Note spin-off with, like, the like, E-Boy who took over from Light, they could do that. Like, anything like that where it's like, yeah, close enough. Kinnikuman Nisei, if they wanted to do that, I'm on board. Or if they wanted to cover stuff from, like, the continuation of Kinnikuman, I'm on board. Like, so many series they can work with. And if they want to just say, fuck it, let's just add all Jump Plus stuff, why not? And they want to add, like, Spy Family and Jigokuraku and stuff like that, again, I am on board. Maybe that's pushing a little bit too far, but I think that would be great. And then the last thing, Summon Animations revamp. They promised us the revamp, and then they said, oh, well, actually, it's like, it's kind of low priority right now. Well, alright, I've given you another 6 months. But in another 6 months, when we're pulling up to the 5.5 anniversary, and you've got some amazing cool units for us to summon for, I want good summon animations. I want fake outs. I want, like, some variation in, like, the way things, like, come up on the screen. I don't just want the same thing every time. And if that also comes with an update that allows us to multi-summon 10-step tickets and maybe, you know, just some other little bits to improve the gacha experience, I am on board. But that's it. That is the roadmap to the 5.5 anniversary by me. And I know that people are going to look at this and there's going to be some things they were properly vibing with, and there's going to be some other things that they're like, what was he thinking? But that's it. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know some of the things you would like to see on the way to the 5.5 anniversary. And that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time.